Danielle Snoeberger. I am a emergency room RN at Arnett here in town, and I have been there for about 4 years now. I've been a nurse going on for 10. I've always worked in the ER, and I've always been on night shift.
And I'll read the letter here. It says, Danielle is an unstoppable force in the emergency department. She primarily serves as charge RN and is a force for her patients as well as the staff. Danielle is the go-to person for all things related to emergency care. She has compassion and a soul of a hero. She continually strives to maintain a delicate balance of hospital throughout and patient care. Danielle is the resource we all go to for guidance. As the house supervisor of Arnett Hospital, Danielle needs no direction, guidance, or supervision doing her job. Danielle always performs to the top of her abilities and is so respected by her peers. Her regulatory and patient care knowledge is second to none. There's no better example of a hero than Danielle Snoeberger. That's really nice to hear, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, yes, that's really, really nice to hear. It's such an honor to hear that from somebody that I work with.
Yeah, I mean, and from a peer as well. I mean, that just makes you feel pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure does.
Why become a nurse?
So I became a nurse actually as a second career. My first degree is in agriculture, which always just blows everybody away. But I became a nurse after my grandma was in the hospital on and off during my adult life, and seeing the nurses taking care of her and the way that they changed her life while she was in the hospital and out of the hospital was just where my inspiration came. Nobody in my family is in medicine, so I was kind of the black sheep going into medicine, but I've never regretted going into the nursing profession.
Now, what would you say is the most rewarding part about your job?
The most rewarding part of being a nurse is seeing the difference that I can make not only in my patients' lives, but in my peers and coworkers' lives as well. It's amazing to see your patients get better. In the ER, we don't see a lot of that because we're packaging them up for their next stop in their medical journey. You know, sometimes later on, we see them a year or two later, and seeing them improved in their health or in their life is always rewarding. But on the other side of that, seeing my peers, my coworkers have their aha moments, especially with those new nurses when they're learning new skills, that's probably my favorite part, is just seeing the growth of others.
Now, what would you say is the most challenging part of your job?
The most challenging part of my job sometimes can be dealing with those difficult situations, whether it be emotionally difficult or just physically difficult. But it's also sometimes really hard for those who don't work in healthcare to understand the schedule or to understand the different types of stress that we go through. I worked during COVID, so I'm not going to talk about COVID, but just trying to convey how that affected those of us that worked in it can be really, really difficult. Sometimes if somebody didn't work directly with those patients during that time.
Now, you mentioned you work with some new nurses. What advice would you give a young person who wanted to get into nursing?
If somebody was wanting to go into nursing, I would tell them, to make sure that they're ready. Looking back, don't think when I was a brand new grad would have been ready to go into this type of a profession, just from a maturity and a life standpoint. I hadn't lived enough life yet. I think there's a lot of great nurses that come out straight out of high school that go into college, into nursing, and then join the field in their early 20s. But I also think that there is some of us who just aren't ready yet, because when you go into nursing, you're going into the most traumatic days of people's lives. And if you're not ready, you're not going to be ready to help them to the best of your ability.
Danielle Snoeberger with Arnett Hospital. You are Lafayette Media Group's Local Hero of the Month, and we appreciate all that you do.
Thank you so much. I'm honored.